Welcome to Push to Pass podcast with JP Murray, a discussion about business, racing, sports, and life. This podcast delivers insights on what makes businesses, teams, and people successful based on real-life business experiences. Following a career with America's largest associations, JP Murray founded the Murray Company, one of Washington, D.C.'s most successful consulting firms. The company was acquired successfully and enabled him to launch JP Murray Racing, a business development and sponsorship agency for auto racing teams. Here is JP.
Hello and welcome to episode 78 of the Push to Pass podcast. Today we're going to talk about a concept that worries me, the self-made person, not only in the world of motorsport, but in life in general. The phrase self-made means that the individual didn't inherit their wealth, business success, but created it by themselves. And it's a phrase I think we really need to eliminate from the business excellence language. You see, there's no such thing as a self-made man or woman. We all need collaboration and help along the way. I think about today. I was going to the doctor. I needed my surgeon, my physical therapist, my nurse, my wife to give me a ride, and that was just to get me through 9:30. And these were all hands-on people. And when you think about all the things that you need throughout the day, whether it's your podcast lineup, your mindfulness process you go through, people that you don't even have daily and direct interaction with, it's probably literally hundreds of folks that you need help with. So what does a self-made person really mean? We do drive and have ownership of our future for sure. But when failure occurs, we often blame others. But man, when success kicks in, we're self-made, and it really does kick in. You know, the concept often becomes more evident. The industry has a tendency to be closed or secretive, and a mindset of scarcity sets in rather than abundance. That's what some industries are kind of like. Motorsports is no different. Teammates are rivals, sponsors are stolen. It's a tough business. But that doesn't mean that we can't overcome it. But if you are a collaborator, it's going to be a tough transition. It doesn't mean you can't work with others to be successful. In fact, I think it could be a differentiating quality. If you want to be more inclusive, roadblocks do exist, and that applies to every industry. So how do we fight the inclination to have folded arms instead of the open hand? Well, one way is to look for people in your team that align with your values of growth and collaboration, and your sponsors that think the same. I said this in a previous episode. I believe in first, as you're collecting relationships, that sharing and teamwork is the standard that you're looking for. We want to use the word partnership in motorsports, not as a catchphrase, but the real thing. But that's sometimes not the behavior. It's really just an exchange of benefits for revenue. It's important that we surround ourselves with individuals willing to lend a helping hand, to be transparent, may I say even vulnerable, truly talk about what's happening so we can build the greatest partnerships with our teams. In fact, I think expansion comes from building more relationships and fostering collaboration. By working together, you achieve greater success and you win. Have you ever seen the fast car that loses because of a bad pit stop? A team loses funding because the prospect that you invited to come to the race didn't feel like it was included and kind of set off to the side. They didn't feel welcome. Are they going to pay? I don't think so. Those kinds of qualities, believe me, even when you're trying to attract sponsors, starts to leak in, and the true partners can see that. Many industries offer exclusivity or limited access. That's because they believe scarcity attracts a bigger price point, and I believe that does happen in the short term, but not forever. Exclusivity may be a good idea for a little bit, but eventually you're going to be the only person there. Over time, you're going to be the only member of the club. Because in the world of auto racing, just like in life, collective work is the key for your sponsorship program. The driver must help and be engaged. To fully kind of embrace the partnership, the team can help by opening the paddock and introducing the team members to prospects, being open about that, being welcoming. Other partners that you have should be a part of the welcome wagon. Break down the silos of your organization. I remember this. A principal once criticized me because I introduced one of the team members to a business contact I had. He said, "Oh my gosh, don't do that. We don't trust him." It was devastating. It meant that the values were not in place that I was looking for, and the person probably didn't trust me either. So that was a short-term relationship. Now, again, I could be naive, and that's all right. I've heard the fact that sponsors leave for someone else, and it's unfortunate, and it costs jobs and maybe the driver's status with the team. However, I think that there are places to start from trust, collaboration, embracing the idea that everyone has a part in the success, including mine. But you might not be called a self-made man or woman when that happens, and you may not receive all the credit. So what? Hey folks, I hope this content's helpful. I got a favor to ask. In the next week, I'm going to be promoting some of our teams and drivers for the 2024 season. I'd be grateful if you would give them a thumbs up or circulate that and give it a repost. It means a lot for me to amplify the opportunities that we're talking about. Thanks for listening and watching to the Push to Pass podcast. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Push to Pass podcast with JP Murray, a discussion about business, racing, sports, and life. If you would like to sponsor Push to Pass, send an email to jp@jpmurray.com. Follow JP on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. His website is jpmurray.com. Until next time, push yourself to pass the competition. Thanks for listening.